Thank you. Hi, everyone. Before we begin, question: who of you are developers? Yeah, nice. Who are designers?
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, nice. Who is developing an app now currently? Who's developing her own app? Nice. Okay, yeah. So cool. Good to know who's there.
Yeah.
We're
gonna start.
You want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. So welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks, Katie, for inviting us. And thanks for you to be here to hear us talking about brand UX and how we, as designers, can help brands to enhance their identity through experience and product design. So my name is Lucila, and this is my colleague and friend, Michal.
Yeah, that's me. I guess, great to meet you guys. Really happy to be here. It's not only Katie who has QR codes tonight. We also have a QR code at the end.
Prepare your phones.
Yeah, prepare your phones. The QR code will be about the feedback. We're very interested in getting feedback about the presentation, just to make it better. Just a few words about us, if you don't mind. I've been a product designer for about 13 years. I've been running my product design full service studio for almost all this time. Before, I was also head of marketing. I was director of a festival. I was editor-in-chief of a magazine, so quite a lot of marketing-related roles. But all the time, I've been designing something. That's basically my approach to probably my life. That probably Apollonia, who's sitting here, can sort of confirm.
Goodbye.
Yeah, and enough about me.
Yeah, so a little bit
legendary Lucy.
about me. Well, I have done a little bit like less things than you, just because I'm younger. But but I'm from Argentina. I moved here 3 years ago, so I'm currently working as a product designer at Bilue. Working from some clients like AMP and Stan, but in the past, I have been working with clients in Latin America and Europe. I'm also currently a volunteer as a designer too for Girls in Tech. So what we do is we promote inclusion and diversity in the tech industry, which is a really nice thing to do. But let's jump into our agenda for today.
Yeah, that's it. So this presentation is a shorter version of a presentation that we did about a year ago. So we've divided this into 3 parts. This one, first we'll just tell you what it is, brand UX, what we consider to be brand UX. Second part will be a quick design review of 2 apps from the same industry, providing very similar features, but how they can differ just from branding perspective and brand positioning. And finally, we share some insights and experiences on how to ensure a coherence across multiple brand touchpoints and multiple products, which is very useful in our work now. By the way, hi, Kyle. Kyle came here all the way from Sydney. Not for me, but I'm happy to have you here. Yeah. Yeah, so what is brand UX? Maybe let's start, what is actually a brand? Many people say, hey, brand, we need a new logo because we have a new brand.
And make it bigger.
Yeah, and make it bigger, exactly. Yeah, make the logo bigger, which is a common misconception because brand is in fact every interaction with your company, with your brand, with your product, with you. That's your brand. Brand is something that lives in the minds of your customers. Its logo is just a visual representation that helps you to identify. But brand is in fact what people say about you when you're not in the room. Which I really like this quote from Jeff Bezos. And so whatever you do, whatever you sell, whatever your values, either as a company or a person, that's your brand, and people see it. What is brand UX? Is everything that happens in between the brand and the experience, or the experience of the people that experience your brand. Yeah, perfect English. Brand is a promise, experience is the proof. Good brand user experience is when these two elements are aligned, when you deliver, basically. That's the great user experience. And if you under-deliver, obviously that's wrong. Sometimes even if you over-deliver, it's also not the best, because you might get confused as the brand user or a customer that, hey, I got this, I'm getting this, am I paying more for this? Because, it's all about this coherency and consistency across brand and experience. Today, obviously, we'll be touching a bit about the digital products experience. Let's start with this. Imagine your colleague from work. Let's call him John. John is a very silent guy, very timid, even a bit shy, but very wise guy. If you're in trouble and you have a problem at work, you go to John because he'll give you this advice on what to do, how to solve this problem. And you basically trust John because he makes you feel safe.
Yeah. And also now let's imagine someone else, like a different colleague. She's Joanna, for example, and imagine that she's really creative. She has a lot of energy. She came to the room with that energy, shared a lot of ideas, and it's always encouraged you to go for more. So we have here two different people. What do you think that is different in between them? Like, what is the difference that they have?
What do you think? What's the difference between John and Joanna? What differentiates that? Yeah, also, yeah, attitude, yeah.
Getting closer.
These things are a representation of the
Yes.
character. So
Exactly. So the personality, that is what is different between them. And when we talk about personality, and we can ask our today host, what he says about it. So personality is a combination of characteristics or qualities that form an individual's distinctive character. So basically, it's a set of characteristics that forms who you are. And now that we understand what personality is, what happens is we transfer this concept and talk about brand personality. So we can say that it's the same thing. Like, in simple ways, brand personality is when you add a set of values to a set of characteristics, to a brand, and talk about that brand as if that brand was a person. And to put in place this framework, there is a very famous tool that is the 12 brand archetypes. That is like standardized ways of categorize these personalities.
Yes, that's it. And it's widely used by marketers, also by brand designers, to really make brand distinctive, to really, because brand personalities, you can sort of tell, okay, yeah, John is like that, John is like that. We sort of tend to feel it instinctively. And in marketing and in product design, there are tools for that. And so Google is sage.
We will talk about it later. So
Yes.
Good. So what happened when a brand lacks of vitality and coherence? And to talk about this, I want to guide you through an example. So imagine or think about your banking app, and how you interact with that app every day. And then think in those times that you went to the bank branch actually and talked with an employee there. And then another example, for example, when you receive like some emails or letters from that bank, what happens if all of them are even a little bit different? So if the logo colors are a little bit different, or the typography that they are using is different, or they are communicating in a different way using a different tone of voice.
Or if there's a typo, typo with banking, bank is a great example of a product that, you need to trust these guys. So if anything is off, you instantly feel like, okay, I'm not sure about it.
You might start questioning if you are interacting with the same brand, or even if it's a scam, or what is happening in there.
Yeah.
So to answer the question that I was showing you before, what happened with the brand's lacks of vitality and coherence, we can say that, as a conclusion, that brand lose market position, confuse the customer, so they lose trust on that brand, and also they start like feeling, or they are not going to recommend that brand to someone else. And also you miss opportunities as a brand because you are not going to be able to grow and improve your service, your product. So what we are going to show you today is how we as designers can control the perception of a brand through UX and UI in mobile applications, and also how we can help these organizations to shape the way people is going to feel about the digital products. And to start with that, let's go back to the beginning. Yeah, and let's imagine an app as if it was a person.
Very funny. Cool. So we've prepared a really quick design review of 2 products, and that again, same industry, providing very similar functionalities in banking industry. Ubank, anyone is using Ubank? Yeah, nice. And then we believe it's the sage archetype and the jester. Maybe someone would guess what would be the, even not competitor of Ubank, but a jester banking mobile app.
Any bank in general.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Well, from that perspective, this one isn't even a joke. Yeah, it's a very funny brand. It's a very funny app. And as you can see, even the taglines for these brands are different. Ubank, Ubank is, the name is similar. Ubank is about the control of your money, whereas Appbank is about feeling good about the money. So let's dive into it. Let's see what's the difference.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the UI, and what do you think the UI is the equivalent in a person?
Yeah, if you thought about a mobile app as it was a human being, so what is the UI equivalent? That's it, yeah.
Is the physical appearance. So let's focus for a minute in the iconography of these apps. So when we look at Ubank, we can see that they are using pretty standardized icons, linear ones. They use geometric shapes. They are quite stable. They are good. They are work. Like they always, or they help users to identify different actions in the app. So yeah, they work. They are okay. And what happened with Appbank? Something similar. They also use linear icons to trigger different actions and to help the user quickly identify the actions that they can do in the app. But they also introduce a different type of iconography. That is these little illustrations that they use to promote different products, and promotions that they have inside the app. So,
and if I may add something, imagine using these icons in Ubank. It would be like impossible. It wouldn't suit at all.
It's not going to make sense with the identity of that bank. Now let's have a look at the colors. So I'm sure that you have seen this color wheel hundreds of times, but now focus on the colors that Ubank and Appbank are using. They are exactly on the opposite side of the color wheel. So that means that they evoke different emotions or concepts. So Ubank is trying to evoke trust, security, balance. And on the other side, Appbank is trying to evoke emotions, happiness, optimism, enthusiastic. So what we are trying to say here is not that one of them is better than the other one. It's just that they are using this concept to represent and help the user understand the brand identity and how they are different. So because they also are like targeting a different customer customer segment, service options.
Yeah, and what do you think this UX, meaning, that's a hard one because UX, you might say, is everything. But what falls usually under UX is job, is information architecture, order of elements, what's,
what can be the
what's in there? What would be the equivalent? Sorry? Personality, yeah, also.
It's part of it.
Yeah.
How you feel after you finish talking to the person and walk away?
Oh.
That'd be you.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So
it's related with this.
yeah, absolutely. And what in our presentation at least it would be what people say and how they say it,
Yeah.
which actually affects the aftertaste of the conversation. Yeah. So we wanted to showcase here the difference in menu position and behavior of the menu. With Ubank, it's a standard navigation. Nothing wrong with it. It's a great five tab bar in the bottom. That's exactly what you would expect from a banking app.
Yeah,
It works. It does the job perfectly, and it's great. With AppBank, they pushed it a bit further, and they almost deriving from dating apps. You swipe left, right. Because I can imagine that these users might be more familiar with these patterns. I mean, I don't mean that AppBank users date all the time, but they are open to atypical patterns. And what's interesting, that's actually a great solution to bringing more items into the menu. So more than 5 tabs, it's more scalable. But it's way different. It uses also different interactions that these users might be more familiar with, rather than Ubank users that would expect more standard pattern in that space.
Exactly. So what about the micro interactions? What do you think, again, is the equivalent for the micro interactions?
Sorry?
Sorry?
Conversations? Yeah, and maybe I'll reframe the question. What is communication? What communication consists with? Oh yeah, gestures. Yeah, that's
Yes.
it. That's it. Yeah,
You are getting it.
body language.
Exactly. So it says that 70% of the way that we communicate is body language. So let's have a look.
That's why for 2 beers, you speak any language.
So let's have a look at this simple gesture, scrolling. So we do this all the time with all the apps. And what happened with Ubank? So they have a standard scroll down. So it's familiar. We know that pattern. We predict that it's going to work that way. And it's okay, works. And what about AppBank? Well, it's kind of the same thing, but they are also introducing a little bit more of animation and movement in there. And also one of our favorite ones is this animation that they have here, where the user has to press the screen, pull down, and then release the finger, and they can save $1.
Save $1.
Yeah, exactly. So they encourage you to save with this cute animation. But yeah, again, it's like different way of communication.
Yeah, that's it. Just to sum up, a really quick case study. All these interactions, the look of it, the feel of it, was designed by someone who was making a lot of decisions on the way. Okay, I'm choosing this font. I'm proposing this color palette to stakeholders. Then legal kills it, but then we want this one. But a lot of decisions have been made on the way. And we're all designers here, but by designing, we mean squad, everyone involved into an app, because design is a collaborative effort. And it's, designing is facilitating. But all these decisions had to be made to design these apps. And obviously, the team has been maybe briefed, but was following the guidelines, some kind of guidelines from the company, from the brand owner, and who created the mission, the vision, and designers have used these guidelines as criteria when making these decisions. So when the products have been finally released, when any product is released, then customer interprets whatever happens with that product. And that product elicits some emotions and builds an image of a product, of a brand, of a company. So yeah, designers, all teams, squads are in between. And then how to really, make it consistent across mobile app, web app, some backend systems, because there's external stakeholder / customer, there's internal customer, and it all affects the experience. There is brick and mortar store, like brick and mortar bank, so it all has to be consistent. Collaboration is one of the key things, and it sounds almost like a buzzword, and yes, everything is about collaboration, but well, you can't not collaborate with other departments if you want to design and create something really consistent. One of the ways of really bringing this together and make product team and marketing team be on the same page is making brand guidelines a part of design system, or maybe making design system part of brand guidelines. For many years, these two worlds have been separate with a really reactive overlap, but over the last 10 years, tech and marketing is basically one thing. And there are a lot of companies that just still don't get it. And
you will notice those inconsistencies.
Yeah. And there's a lot of potential in space. So yeah, that's at least there's a one source of truth for teams for marketing and product, which increases cross-functional collaboration, because it's all about the environment and I guess just management or leadership support. If your CEO doesn't get that, yeah, it's hard. It's just hard then. So from collaboration standpoint, I think combining brand guidelines and design system is something that you can do even on a not C-suite level, but the mid management level. It's still possible to sort of get through with it, but at least create an environment for two teams that don't talk to each other too often, or should be talking more often. It's good to have a vision that is shared with everyone. So strategy, mission, vision, something that everyone aligns to. It's like in a relationship. It's not about looking in the eyes, but it's looking towards the same direction. So that's why we need strategy. But also we need strategy to define, okay, which features go to web, mobile. We need to have like a view, an overarching view on this, and goals and objectives. OKRs, objectives and key results, very important to really be able to track if your strategy works. Because another common misconception about strategy is that strategy is a document. No, it's not. It's a process. It's something that is being tweaked all the time.
It's a live document that you are working on all the time.
That's it. And everyone should contribute into this. Yeah. And research. And by research, we believe that the most important thing is to have the entirety of information. And by entirety, I mean incorporate operational and experience data. So operational would be standard, numbers, conversion, finance, retention rate, things like that, things that you would hear from research teams, mostly because stakeholders are interested in money. But also, in order to have the big picture, to comprehend the big picture, you need experience data about emotions, intentions, beliefs, and how it intertwines together. So is it worthwhile? Actually, there's a lot of additional meetings in the schedule.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess we just let some numbers speak.
I think it is.
Yeah, we believe it is, and it's funny. We have more of these numbers, but it's interesting that it's easy to talk about someone, not brands, but someone when you relate to someone, when you build a relationship with someone. It's important to be authentic. Who likes fake people? It's about trust. It's about position on social or political issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's the same with brands because we in fact, we build relationships with brands just like with people. Yeah.
Exactly. So we told you about this before, so please give us feedback,
Yeah.
but also if you have any question or comment or anything that you want to share with us, this is the moment.
And the feedback is just 3 questions. You don't even have to answer all of them.
Yeah, you can chat with
You can
us
just
after
have a
the
look at the
meeting.
you can just have a look at the form and not answering them at all. It's a Google form, by the way.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand that UX and UI is an intensive process. It takes time, but being an entrepreneur myself, talking to clients, it is very difficult to convince them on the UI UX timeline specifically. So how do you convince them that, okay, because it's a process, it involves strategy, research, collaboration, everything, it's going to take time and they need to sign up and time. Like we are a software development company, so it's design and development both are part of the deliveries that we do, but they always get convinced on the development side, but the design side is tricky. So how do you convince?
That happens.
It's a great question. That's why we're here to educate the world on this,
Exactly.
because
That
it is
happen a lot.
difficult. Yeah, it's not easy to explain. It's probably like psychology, using psychology and NLP, I guess, to it's show the numbers. That's for sure. Try to find similar use cases. If you're running a software house, you probably do it, and it's sometimes you achieve the results, sometimes you don't. But I think it's getting easier, and more and more companies really understand the value in it, even though it's not that tangible as dev hours. But yeah, I think crafting cases. I mean, yeah, that's probably it's the way to go. At least we do it. Yeah.
Historical examples, and also if you can bring them along the journey, like get them to understand why it's what it is, how you made a decision before, but that's not going to be the thing forever. It's evolve as you learn more things. All of that helps.
Yeah.
Or if you've got stories about how that happened in the past.
Yeah. Also, with when I started the design, I've become a designer about years ago. It was like, okay, I designed something and then I'm like a big presentation and I'm sure they will buy it. No, you need to, as you say, take them on the journey and be, vulnerable. Yeah, that's my idea. What do you think? And design together. That's why design is a facilitation rather than I'm the star and you better buy it.
When you want to move your budget, then we should be like spring. It's like I created my frames and to show like what you can do. So
yeah, like
Yeah,
using
totally.
Google Sprint frames, for example. Yeah, absolutely. And since you've mentioned design systems, sometimes if a job is small, you don't need design system. It's also about
you can even use like design libraries that are there in the market. You can buy them. You can use the one that are shared for free. You can just tweak them and use them to prototype quicker, and then iterate those designs, and with user feedback and like getting all the team involved in that, you can improve that product.
Yeah. It's always, case by case. Yeah. With Carl, when we work, we have a massive design system, but it's massive news. Yeah. Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank you.
listening.